Good afternoon. It's nice to see you. My name is Miss Carissa. Thank you for coming in today. I wanted to start the session off by explaining my confidentiality policy for my agency. So
Okay.
our confidentiality policy is similar to any other health field policy that you will see kind of at the doctor's office, the dentist, other therapists, things like that.
Mhm.
Um, so what that means is that what we share together in this time and when we build this relationship, what you tell me stays in here and it doesn't get shared with anyone with three exceptions. Now, these exceptions don't necessarily mean I'm going to tell anyone. These just mean that I'm going to need to help you get to somewhere where you're in a safer place or able to talk to someone that'll help you get to that safer place. Okay.
Okay.
So those three exceptions are if you explain to me that you're going to hurt yourself, you explain that you're going to hurt someone else, or if you talk about or describe to me an instance of child abuse or elder abuse.
Mhm.
Do those make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Do you have any questions about our confidentiality statement?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. And again, that's just to make sure that we can get you in a safe place so that you and everyone else is safe. It is
Hmm.
by no means meant to punish you or have any consequences for you, just to keep you
Hmm.
safe.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I seen on your intake form that you like to be called Anna.
Hmm. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Awesome. So today, we're just going to be talking about a lot of hard topics. So I wanted you to be aware that it's okay if we have to stop and take a break. If you ever feel overwhelmed and want to step back for a minute, kind of get your feelings in check, or however you want to do that, just let me know if you need a break. And I can check in with you
Okay.
too if you're more comfortable with that.
I can let you know. That works for me.
Okay, awesome. So
Okay.
I want to start off with some information about you.
Okay.
Can you start off with like who you are as a person? Kind of explain to me, what your day-to-day life looks like?
Yeah, I've always been kind of quiet and shy. And I'm starting to now see, now that I'm going back to school and getting my MSW, that I may have social anxiety disorder. And it really is ringing true to me when I'm in any classes where we're going over that or the DSM. So I guess it kind of all started when I was in high school. I got in a car wreck and had to be out of school for 2 years. And it got really hard for me to be able to get back and talk to people and act normal. And, I felt like everyone was looking at me and judging me. And so I don't know. I've always been shy, but kind of from that point on, it just really went downhill. And it's been hard for me to do a lot of things like related to my practicum where I'm needing to teach in front of, groups of people. And I can't bring myself to do it. I haven't done it yet. I keep making excuses. I know that everyone's going to make fun of me or laugh at me. And I can't handle that type of pressure. So it's been affecting that part of it's been affecting my ability to, get my degree and graduate. So that's why I'm coming in today.
Okay, I'm sorry that you're having to experience those feelings. Can you tell me a little bit more about when you had to miss school for 2 years?
Yeah, so um I was, I guess, 15 or 16, and I was a passenger in my boyfriend's car, and he ran a red light, and we got in an accident. I broke both of my legs, so there was a long recovery. I broke my knee on the growth plate, so I had to be pretty much laid out for a good 6 to 8 months without moving it. and I kind of, like I said, I've always been sort of, I've kept to myself, but I really turned inward during this time, and it kind of, I don't know, I guess maybe my anxiety kind of got worse. I started worrying about going back to school. Suddenly that became overwhelming, and it's kind of carried on into, my life after high school, and even college and now, and I just don't know how to get back to, you know being confident, not feeling, not letting this like really hold me back like I have been.
Okay, I hear you. So what I'm hearing you say is that you feel like your anxiety really kind of took off after your car accident because you were kind of secluded, and it was an extensive period of time. If you were, out for 2 years from school, that's quite a while. And you know being 17 and 18ish when you were missing school, I mean, those are some tough years to miss. So
Yeah,
just you getting through that is an accomplishment in and of itself. So
thank you. Yeah, it was rough for sure.
yeah, I can imagine.
Mm.
um is there anything else about your childhood that you think would be beneficial for me to know or to note?
Um, Other than, kind of always having this sort of low grade anxiety, um, all the time. I had a fairly good childhood. I think that my mom suffers a bit from anxiety. She's never been diagnosed with anything, but I think, I don't know if that's something that gets passed down, but I definitely think it's so. She gave it to me because I have siblings that are very outgoing, like my dad. But yeah, I took after my mom and just being very reserved.
Okay. Yeah, and that's not a bad thing at all. There's all different types of personality traits, and some people are extroverted and some people are introverted, and that's okay.
Yeah,
But it sounds like your anxiety has been really affecting your college, and your practicum. So
yeah,
I'm glad that you came in today to talk through that so that we can kind of get you in a better place.
yeah. Thank you. Me too.
So can you explain to me what a typical day looks like for you right now?
Yeah, so I go, my practicum is at a middle school, where I'm working alongside a school counselor, mental health counselor there. And so I go there 2 to 3 times a week. And, either we have students come in that are, kind of going through some stuff and want to talk it out, or the lady I work with will lead a group, and she wants me to start leading a group, and that just terrifies me. I don't know. I've been putting it off, which is similar to what I've been putting off this presentation that she also wants me to give in front of a class. And I know that it's silly, but I physically don't feel like I can do it, and it's just I'm really nervous and scared, and so um, yeah. So whenever I go to the school, I'm usually pretty terrified the entire time I'm there because I'm worried that she's going to try to get me to do something I don't feel comfortable doing, or, you know, pu- putting me out there. And I guess I'm just always waiting for that to happen, or her to ask something of me where I just don't feel comfortable doing. So it's uh, the days are pretty long when I do that.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That sounds very exhausting. Um,
Yeah, mentally, it's really exhausting. It's like when I get home, I just want to go to bed. It's even though it's a shorter day, it's just I'm done by the end of it.
yeah, it almost sounds like you're always like on edge
Yeah,
when you're at
very
your
much.
practicum.
Yeah.
Um, so can you explain to me what some of your triggers are? I know that your practicum and speaking in large groups is a trigger. Is there any more?
Mhm. Meeting new people has always been tough. I mean, I feel like people are talking about me or judging me or whatever when I meet them. Um, and my friends will tell me that I'm being silly, but I don't know. It's just this feeling that I've had, and so that I don't get out much and meet new people. You
Mhm.
basically have to like force me to. So I have a it's closed up my social world and social group a lot with this. I have some like two or three very close friends, but that's about it.
Okay. And have you ever addressed these anxiety symptoms or feelings in the past with like psychiatric care or a therapist?
Um, well, I did see a therapist for like two or three sessions, and I just kind of felt like I was out there in the spotlight again, and I wanted to see like fast results. And I know that that's not enough time to do that, but this was also when I was a lot younger, like right out of college, and before it started really affecting my livelihood, I guess you could say. So since then, I haven't gone to see anyone. I'm not on any medications for it, but um, since it started just getting really bad and really affecting, what I want to do for my career and my life going forward, I decided to, suck it up and come and try to see someone to help me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's great that you're deciding to want to come in and try to work towards getting rid of those anxiety symptoms or at least lessening them. Um,
Mhm.
that's awesome, and I'm super proud of you for that.
Thank you.
With these symptoms of anxiety, they sound pretty severe. I'm going to ask you a few questions about some specific symptoms. Is that okay with you?
Okay. Yeah.
So a lot of the times people who are experiencing anxiety are also having trouble with sleeping. Have you been having any trouble with that?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it takes me forever to fall asleep. And then when I finally do, I wake up very easily. So I have to have like a sleep machine and like blackout curtains and everything to try to, prevent me from waking up once I do finally fall asleep, just because it's such a struggle. So yeah, I feel like I definitely don't get the recommended amount of sleep every night. And I never really have, but it's gotten worse recently.
Okay. And when would you say that that got worse?
Um, Probably when I started school and started the practicum. I was thinking that I could, kind of do my coursework and be done. And, having this practicum, even though I knew about it in advance, it was just, I guess I just didn't think about how social and involved it was
Mhm.
going to have to be. And so I think I wasn't prepared mentally, and my anxiety just started to flare up during this period of time. And it's, still like right up here where normally it's, kind of at a mid-level.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely understand that. Um, so it sounds to me like a lot of these symptoms really got like out of your control at the start of your practicum. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd been able to kind of get weasel my way out of things and make, sort of not go to situations or put myself in situations or positions where I knew that I would feel this way before, and now I really can't escape that. So yeah, um it's facing me for the first time in my life, and there's nothing I can, do to get out of it. And that's terrifying.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that can be super scary. Um,
Mhm.
so what I'm hearing you say is that you're kind of experiencing a little bit of avoidance or as like a coping mechanism or like a protective factor. And
Yeah.
so you're missing out on like big life things um, as to protect yourself from that ridicule of
Mhm.
others and the embarrassment.
Yeah.
Um, is that does that sound about right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think I've been using avoidance for a while, and yeah, it's worked for me thus far, but not now. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, coping skills are definitely something that we can work on throughout the next few sessions. So
Okay.
we can look forward to that. And then I did have a few more questions about you in general. It looks like I've gotten a lot of your medical history and your social history, your education, gotten quite a bit of that. What about your family? I know you said you had a pretty good childhood. Do you have any siblings?
I have two sisters, and they are the ones that kind of took after my dad and his personality, which is very outgoing. And my mom is, like I said, she's dealt with some anxiety, never like received a formal diagnosis, but um, yeah, I was always kind of the quiet, aloof kid, and my sisters got all the attention.
Okay. And do you think that like affected the way that you interpreted people's emotions and how they were interacting with you?
Yeah, I mean, I would see, I would see my sisters getting, asked out on dates and going to prom and going to the movies and just hanging out with their friends. And I felt like an outcast just because these were things that they really liked doing. And I just didn't see it. I didn't want to do those. And it really struck me how different I am than than they are. And I think that's when, I started to realize something is not quite right with me. But yeah, I sort of kept to myself then, kind of as I do now. And I do feel like if I had gone out, people would probably judge me and critique me. And so I just kind of felt better not doing it and, not having that happen to me.
Okay. And how would you describe your relationship now with your sisters?
They're really close because they're very similar. I'm not really close to either of them. I'm close to my mom, who's, we're kind of, we're both sort of, quiet and awkward together, which is fine with me. But yeah, my sisters, uh, we just kind of went on different paths, and I wish that we were closer, but we're just very dissimilar, and I think that they just think I'm boring, and they always wonder why I don't want to do things, and it's just I've gotten past the point of making excuses, so now I just don't pick up the phone when they call, or do what I can to avoid them because they're always trying to get me to get out of my
Mhm.
shell, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, gotcha. So it sounds like you don't have that close of a relationship with your sisters, but earlier you told me that you do have two or three close friends, and it sounds like
Hmm.
they have a better understanding of like what you're going through emotionally, and it sounds like they're really good supports for you. Is that true?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, good. And it's really glad to hear that you have some social supports like that, especially when
Yeah.
you're experiencing a lot of what sounds like social anxiety. It's good
Hmm.
to have those connections to other people, even if it is two to three people, that's still a lot better than
Yeah.
feeling alone.
Yeah, and I mean they're kind of similar to me, and I think we all just get each other, so that's kind of why it's worked really well.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Um, so with your feelings of anxiety, have you ever had like feelings of wanting to hurt yourself or anyone else?
No, I mean, it's never gotten that bad. I do think that it made me feel kind of depressed in high school when I wouldn't do anything because I didn't want to, but then it was sort of this self-fulfilling prophecy where, I didn't want to do something, so I wouldn't do it, and then I'd feel worse about myself for not doing it. And um, so I think I was pretty down on myself then, but I've never gotten to the point where I'm like suicidal or want to hurt myself.
Okay, that's really good to hear. And I'm really glad with the way that you're working through all of these emotions and these feelings.
Mhm. Thank you.
So I think that pretty much wraps up all of my questions I had for you today. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay. No, this was helpful. And I'm looking forward to working with you to try to help me get past this.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to working with you. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of a summary of our session just to make sure that I got it all correct. Okay.
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 So I have down that you're 23 years old, you're experiencing a little bit of social anxiety in your everyday life, and it's really affecting like your sleep, your schooling, your work, um, and that, most of it stems from not wanting to talk in front of people, meet new people, those types of things.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
And then I also have some of your family history on here, and that you ended up starting having anxiety after you broke your legs when you were about 16-ish, and you were kind of secluded.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Is there anything last minute that you wanted to go over today or
No,
have
I
me
think
write down for next session?
that summarizes it pretty well. So now I'm good.
Right. Well, thank you for meeting with me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.